Sports Limelight, episode 53. Special post-Giants-Panthers Thursday night edition, Drew.
What's up, Bill?
Complete dominant performance by the Giants.
Thanks for letting me watch the game with you in studio here.
Oh, thanks for coming. The Giants made it so comfortable for us in the second half that we were able to play a couple of games of Tecmo Super Bowl in coach mode.
That's right, coach mode, where you just call the play and let the players run.
You outcoached me tonight, winning 2 of the 3 games we played.
Thanks, Bill. But speaking of getting outcoached, how about the Giants' dominant performance tonight?
We knew they would have to get big performances from guys filling in for starters who were out. Ramses Barden in place of Hakeem Nicks, over 100 yards receiving, his first such performance by far. Andre Brown continues to really bring them a dimension they didn't have in the running game, kind of running like Brandon Jacobs used to run, with the strong, powerful finishing runs, not tippy-toeing, bowling straight ahead, and with a burst of speed too, good patience at the line.
Reminds me of Otis Anderson in Tecmo.
Hey, nice. A great performance. They were up 20-0 at one point. Never made me sweat.
Nice.
You said earlier tonight when I remarked that, preparing for Cam Newton on a short week, but the Panthers had to prepare for Eli Manning on a short week too.
I was surprised how dominant the Giants' D was. To be honest, I wasn't expecting a blowout. I was expecting the Panthers to put some points on the board, especially at home.
Me too. They shut down Cam Newton. They shut down the option read offense. Stayed disciplined in their lanes.
Yes, a well-coached team right there, Bill.
And the pass rush showed up a little more. Got some pressure on Newton. Made him make mistakes.
Yeah, a couple of sacks and 3 interceptions. Can't be disappointed about that.
Absolutely not. So next up, 10 days of rest before facing the Eagles on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night, right on.
And your Bills at Cleveland.
Yeah.
Prediction?
Well, I have the Bills winning, but playing away from Buffalo should put them on upset alert, I think. But if their offense is how they've been playing, I shouldn't be too worried. Now, Bill, I have a question for you about tonight's game.
Oh, all right.
If you're Ahmad Bradshaw, are you worried about your starting position?
Wow, I think you have to be, at least in the totality that it was before. They're certainly going to be using Brown much more. You can't just keep him on the bench after a performance like that.
Right. By the way, audience, if you can't tell, we're standing up now.
We're standing up, giving us more energy, more passion.
Yep, and I just had a 5-hour energy drink, so I'm in hour 3 of it right now. So
that's the best one.
Should an injury affect your starting job, if it's not a chronic or season-ending one, I would say keep Bradshaw started, right?
In general, I think you can lose a job to injury.
Whoa.
Sometimes guys have the hot hand, or things are going so well with the current lineup you have. When a guy comes back from injury, unless it's such a great player, like you can't keep, Eli Manning on the bench if David Carr has some good games. But you go with what's working, and Andre Brown right now is working. So if I'm the Giants, when Bradshaw is healthy, I'd say maybe at most a 60-40 split, with Bradshaw getting 60% of the snaps.
To spread it out, what about the ex-Egyptian pharaoh Ramses here? Does he take over Hakeem Nicks' role?
I don't think he takes over Hakeem Nicks, but you can use him a lot more as the third receiver, or even, kind of the other outside receiver, put Cruz in the slot more. Barden certainly established himself as he should be on the field more than Dominic Hickson in 3 receiver sets.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit easier to have a bigger role when you have multiple players at wide receiver, whereas running back, you only have one starter. So
Right.
I also have to say cheers to Martellus Bennett. My fantasy 15th round pick has now 3 touchdowns in 3 games for me.
First Giants player ever to have 3 receiving touchdowns in his first 3 games. Eli Manning tonight, 27 for 35 for 288 yards.
Man.
Doesn't get much more efficient than that.
Clearly the better Manning this season.
So far, yeah. There's talks of Peyton Manning, just the arm strength wasn't there on Monday night. He had a good first game, but as the season wears on, I think we saw this with Brett Favre in his Jets season, where at first he looked good, and as the season continued, lost the arm strength, and I think he had an injury he just kind of didn't disclose, and they fell apart. So
right.
We'll see how, Denver's doing in December.
Does Denver play the Giants this year?
They do not. The AFC West plays the NFC South.
Okay.
So they'll also be getting Carolina, Tampa Bay, and the Saints.
Gotcha. as a fan of NFL in general and wanting this to happen for a while, hopefully we see a rematch of Broncos-Giants Super Bowl.
That'd be cool.
I've always wanted to see the Manning brothers go at it.
A Manning Super Bowl. That'd be awesome. Do you want to do some picks this week since it's a rare late week Sports Limelight?
Let's do it.
We're both in Yahoo Pick'em leagues.
For those of you interested, I have to poop. Because I always do.
And mine is called One Giant Step, after the guy in the NFL commercials where they show like fantasy owners being sad over their teams when the season ended. There's a Giants fan looking sad on a treadmill he's not moving anymore on the treadmill, so he's just sliding backwards. And it shows on the screen, One Giant Step, 2-14 record or whatever.
Nice.
We want to start with Bills-Browns then. Bills favored by 3 on the road.
You will notice a pattern in my picks here, but I'm going with the Bills on this one.
Me too. Next up, Chicago favored by 7.5 over St. Louis.
Going with the road team on this one, the Rams.
I've got the Bears in a bounce back on 10 days of rest after losing to the Packers. Next up, Dallas hosting Tampa Bay, 7.5-point favorites.
Man, got to go with the Bucs here. They had the Giants on the ropes in New York. Dallas has regressed significantly since week 1, so got to go with the Bucs here.
I'll take Dallas in a run to the smell type spot. Doesn't seem like they should be favored by this much after what they did against Seattle, but week to week, the NFL can be a whole new game.
You're right. At this point, all teams might go 500 this year.
Still 18 teams at 1-1. Detroit at Tennessee. Tennessee, 3.5-point underdogs at home.
This one is probably a gift to all bettors this week. I think Detroit comes out firing and win.
Ooh.
Takes it.
I'll take Tennessee. This is another one of those things where the stats might not back it up, but it just feels like this. Detroit on the road outdoors. I don't feel like they perform as well.
Yeah. I like picking teams who lose to tough teams the week prior. So I think the Lions playing against 49ers will see a lesser defensive team.
So it's kind of like swinging 2 bats in the on-deck circle, and then when you're swinging 1 bat, it feels lighter.
Exactly.
Going against the Titans is lighter than the 49ers. Next up, Colts at home, favored by 3 over the Jaguars, Drew.
Well, I'd like to pick the Colts here at home, but I think the Jaguars, going back from my theory again, they played the Texans last week, and I think coming to Indianapolis against a lesser defensive team, they come back and then win.
I'll take the Colts at home. A lot of differences for us this week. Love it.
Man, I'm in the spin zone with Bill O'Reilly here.
To play us out. Next, we go to Miami. Jets favored by 2.5 on the road against the Dolphins.
Going with the Jets here.
Me too. We agree on one finally.
Right. Nice.
Yep, Jets bounce back. Miami still think they're terrible. Jets should win this one by double digits. I'll say 10 points.
Okay.
San Francisco, another road favorite at Minnesota, favored by 7 points.
I say 49ers. They looked pretty good against a high-powered Lions offense. Vikings are nowhere near that caliber, so.
Agreed, 49ers. They may not score a ton of points, but Minnesota won't score much. New Orleans in the Dome at home, 9-point favorites over the Chiefs. Are the Saints deserving of a 9-point spread?
In theory, yes. However, this is the trap game.
Ooh!
Do you think the Saints at home against the lowly Chiefs is a safe pick? But it's not. I'm going with the Chiefs.
I'm going to take the Saints here. Another situation, they don't seem to be deserving to be favored by this much, but I think they finally get well in this game, and the Chiefs are terrible. No offense to what the Bills did last week.
What is that?
Now we go to Washington, the Redskins at home, 3-point favorites over the Bengals.
This could be a really close game. I think this game goes into overtime. I think this is a push here, but I'm going with the Bengals. I picked the Bengals on the road here.
Okay, I like that. So even when you're thinking push, you figure you're not going to get beat by a Redskins 3-point victory, so even more confidence to take the Bengals there. I'm taking the Redskins kind of for a similar reason. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Redskins will pull out a close one, and I'm not afraid of a 24-21 Redskins victory beating me, whereas if it was 3.5, might go with the Bengals.
Right.
But yeah, I think RG3 will be too much for the Bengals there. Next up, Philadelphia on the road, favored by 3.5 over the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, being born and raised here and watching the Cardinals, I was really surprised that they pulled out a victory in New England. But, alas, it is the Cardinals. I don't think the streak of victories, I think it runs out this week against the Eagles. I say Eagles win.
I have the Eagles as well. They finally get a victory of more than 1 point. They've been escaping so far, not looking good, but winning. I think this time they look good and win, go to 3-0. Setting up Giants-Eagles next Sunday.
That'll be good. That'll be a good one.
San Diego hosting Atlanta, favored by 3.
This is interesting that Atlanta is the underdog after going 2-0 and beating 2 AFC teams. I will take the road team, Falcons. I think they handle the error-prone Chargers, a.k.a. Philip Crimea Rivers.
I'll take the Chargers. Not really confident about this one, but another dome team going outdoors against an unfamiliar opponent type idea. Next up in Denver, the Texans come to town, 2-point favorites.
Well, if this week is anything indicative of last week for Peyton Manning, I think it's going to be a long night again. I think the Texans come in and handle the Broncos. I think it's going to be a big victory for the Texans.
I'll take the Broncos to bounce back.
Oh, man.
Now this next one here is the last Sunday afternoon game. And if you make a video game and you want my voice, you can use this for any future meeting for these two teams, playing against any other team, I suppose. Now we have Pittsburgh coming in, favored by 4, against the Raiders. Drew.
Man, you caught me off guard there with all those robot voices. Raiders are at home?
Raiders are at home.
I say Steelers. This is a rival game, not in the sense of interdivision, but the Raiders and Steelers have always had that kind of, heavy grudge match, nose in your face kind of game. So I'm going Steelers in a close one.
A historical rivalry.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the mistake line of the week. It should be at least 10 points in favor of the Steelers. And that's why you take the Raiders. Run to the smell. Oakland will cover the 4. They might win outright.
Wow.
Now to the Sunday nighter, Baltimore at home facing New England, favored by 3. Good game here.
I think, this is going to be a good game. But New England coming off that horrible loss at home against the Cardinals, they come out angry and take it on the road.
I think Baltimore wins this one. They kind of continue their momentum. The Patriots scrambling a little bit. There was talk of, is Wes Welker in the doghouse? Baltimore wins. Patriots go to 1-2, and it looks like they're falling apart. And then, for all we know, they could win the rest of their games and finish 14-2. But they'll lose this one. Baltimore wins. And the Monday nighter, finally, Green Bay at Seattle. Packers 3-point favorites. A lot of threes this week, huh?
Yeah. I'm going with Packers here. They looked pretty dominant against what was perceived a high-powered Bears offense. Seahawks are a conservative play-calling offense, so it won't be as high-scoring for the Packers when they have the ball. So I say, like 17-13 victory here for the Packers.
I say Packers as well.
All your listeners keeping score, I picked all the road teams this week.
Wow, what a pattern. Now, this will have to buck a trend because so far this year, I heard a stat, home teams have won by an average of 6 points so far this year, up from the usual average of 3. And the theory on that is the replacement referees are more swayed by crowd reactions than an experienced referee would. So we'll see if it reverses this week. Maybe now that they're aware of the trend, they kind of go the other way too much.
And we'll see how many replacement refs are fans of the teams that are refereeing this week.
All right, Sports Limelight, episode 53. Nice trip around the week slate of games there, Drew.
I agree. Bill, I've been doing this with you for 53 episodes, and I never knew how much of a stand-up guy you were.
Nor I you. Well, not saying we'll try this every time, the full slate of picks or the standing up, but for today, both were a great success, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening.